Hey, good morning. I'm going to say some stuff. Who wants to listen? We're going for a ride today. This month, we are going to hit up 5 things, count them 5 things that Jesus said that absolutely messed everybody up. And I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but there are a lot of times in life when you are going to get something or look for something, and when you get there, you realize, man, I just need a whole lot more of something than I even realized. You know what I'm talking about? You go to Runnings, and you're like, I need a little hardware, and you come out with a MasterCard and an ATV. You know, you go to Hannaford's to pick up some popcorn, you come out with Paula Deen, right? You know, you're going online, you're looking for a game you want to play on your PC, and you're like, man, this game's awesome, but this graphics card just isn't going to cut it anymore. And really, this computer is old enough, maybe I ought to think about upgrading, and you know, on and on and on it goes. Sometimes you just really don't realize what you need until you're actually on the quest. And I'm going to tell you, that was many people's experience when coming to Jesus. That was many people's experience in modern times coming to Jesus. Many of you could actually tell the same story. You came to Jesus thinking, hey, I got a little problem here. I got a little tension in my life. I got a little pain. I got a little suffering. You know, maybe I'll consider reaching out to this God finally, or maybe again. And funny thing about Jesus, he's certainly going to entertain your question, but he always sends you home with more than what you were thinking you were coming for. He's kind of like that guy at the store. You know, you go to Best Buy and you think, I'm going to pick up a little cable for my TV, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll just go in quick and grab a thing, and pretty soon the guy at the counter is like, well, I can get you that, but of course what you really need is, and then he puts it in there. See, that's where the rubber really met the road with Jesus. Wherever you find people are really hot and bothered and angry about Jesus, it usually can be traced back to a moment where somebody came to Jesus thinking, I need a little something of this, a little something of that. Please answer my question, sir. And he just gives them this whole big, boom, this thing. And they're like, I wasn't really looking for all that. Could you maybe just fix this thing? Could you maybe just resolve this issue, and then we'll just be on our way? Yeah. After a while, people really started thinking twice about asking Jesus much of anything. It's actually written. They slowly began less and less and less to even approach the man because they were afraid of what he might say. Now, if you're looking for something from God these days, maybe you're not, I don't know. But if you have some kind of tension in your life and you've been weighing out whether it's worth it to pursue God in a meaningful way, or you've, got to this place where you're like, I just really need a boost, or I need to get moved past this boulder. There's just this one boulder I've got. If you could just break that thing up and get it off my lawn, that'd be real nice. Maybe you've got something like that. Maybe you're just looking for a solution for a question you've never been able to answer, something you can't get past in your past. Maybe you're wondering, is it really worth going to Jesus about this thing? That's a real intimidation that people have. It's a real thing. Is it worth actually opening up this can and saying, Jesus, okay, here's the thing. What do you want to say? That can be intimidating. And if that's you, this is for you. And maybe you're not even thinking about it in those terms. Maybe not even that specifically. Maybe, God is just some passing thought. Maybe you're watching online today and this just happened to roll into your feed somehow. You know some church person and somehow, I don't know why, but you're just motivated to watch today. Maybe that's not a thing for you. But at some point, it just, kind of rolled into your mind. Oh, God, is there a God? Maybe. I think this is a great place for you to just kind of watch safely through the window, because there are going to be people we're looking at the next several weeks who did the thing that you're questioning whether you ought to do or not. And you get to see the God that is, and you're going to see whether or not you're brave enough to do the thing that they did. So I'm going to take you to a place in John's Gospel, that John. And we're going to be in John 6 today. We're just going to kind of plant ourselves there. And we're going to hit on one of the wildest things Jesus ever said about himself that just threw everybody. And where we find him in John 6, that's where we are, John 6, is Jesus has actually just done a massive miracle with bread, of all things. And Jesus has started his public ministry. There are now thousands upon thousands of people who have walked out looking for wherever he is rumored to be. Because why? Because, hey, I wouldn't mind having a miracle for this or this or this. You know, I mean, honestly, you might think, oh, I'm in pretty good shape. But if somebody was rolling through town and said, I could do miracles, you know, you might start thinking something up. Like, oh, you know, I've got this Achilles tendon thing that's been bothering me, you know, ever since I played football in 1998. Maybe I'll have him take a look at that, right? He's so famous just purely because he's known for doing miracles, and people are way out in the middle of nowhere trying to find this guy. And guess what? There's nowhere to buy any food. And so Jesus does this thing. His disciples are nervous, like, we got to get rid of these people because they're going to, we just got one loaf of bread and two measly fish. And of course, Jesus says, well, why don't you feed them? So they go out with baskets and feed several thousand people with a loaf of bread that somehow, in translation, becomes a lot more than one loaf of bread. And there's bread left over so that nobody can say, oh, there wasn't enough. Jesus just finished that up. And he sends the people away. Go on home now. He's taught them things. He's done miracles. He's fed them all. And he's sent them on their way. And, of course, that really isn't enough. I mean, there's always more people. There's always something more people would like to see if they can get. And so Jesus sends his disciples in their fishing boat to the opposite side of this lake, and then he himself goes off to pray. That's what we're told, to go off and have a little alone time and just pray. And funny thing, the people who are still wanting to see more and hear more, they get in their own boat and they pile in and they head to the other side of the lake so they can beat him to wherever he's going to get to, and they'll be right there, right? And when they get there, he's already there. And this is what they say. They say, Rabbi, when did you get here? When did you get here? And then he says something that just, he just cuts right in. This is how Jesus is. Would you put it up? He says, I tell you the truth, you are looking for me, not because you saw miraculous signs, but because you ate the loaves and had your fill. Like, what does that mean? You're not looking for me because you saw the miraculous signs. You're looking for me because I did a thing for you. And that made you feel good. Now you're back. It's not mean. It's just truthful. It's just truthful. You recognize that I'm really hungry. I would really like something to eat. We've been out. We walked on foot out here tons of miles in the desert sun, parts of it, and there's nothing out here, and you feed us. That was pretty cool. So, what more can you do? See, most of us don't come to Jesus because we recognize that Jesus is God. Therefore, we should bow down before him and find out all that he wants to tell us about our lives and just cling to him and just teach us more, teach us more, teach us more. Most of us come and find Jesus because why? Because we're unhappy. Something has taken place in our lives. We realize, I really like something done about this. What do you got, Jesus? What could you do? I'm willing to consider. What can you do for me? That's a hard truth. But it is a truth. Most people are not on a truth quest. They're on a happiness quest. And the happiness, or the lack thereof, drives our emotions and fuels our decisions, and we go either toward pleasure or away from pain. It's what drives us. And Jesus isn't being mean, like I said. He's just pointing it out. He didn't come to me because, you saw the wonders and thought, there's the Lord. I'm going to go find out what He wants for me to do with my life. I mean, it's just, what more can you give me? But then, they ask a very brave question. Very brave. They say, what must we do to do the work God requires? What must we do to do the work God requires? Yeah. That's actually brave. I don't care what you think about these guys and all of their, their humanness, their natural way. That's actually got some gall in it. To actually come to this guy who obviously has something from God and to say, what do we have to do then? I mean, tell us then. You've got some kind of something special with God the Father. Tell us. What does God really want from me then? And this is his answer. He says, the work of God is this. This is the work. To believe in the one He has sent. To believe in the one He has sent. At first glance, that sounds easy, doesn't it? Just got to believe something, right? Oh, yeah. You say some good stuff, I'll believe you. I'm in. But you'd think that would sound great to these guys, because these guys are used to a lot of what I call at leasts, right? You must, show up to temple at least this many times. You must, give at least this percentage of your income. You must pray at least this many times a day. You must, give this value of a sacrifice every time, at least every time you do this bad thing or that bad thing. So they're very used to lists of at least things that you can track, right? So you can track your relationship with God and whether you're in good shape with Him by how good a person you think you are. And how good are you? Well, you go back and you look at the list. How am I doing? So you'd think they'd be excited about this. Wow, I just got to believe something. Good to go. But the problem is, he doesn't say believe. He says believe in. And there's a difference. Believe in the one He sent. Believe in the one He sent. How about just believe the one He sent? Let's listen to Jesus' words and just say, oh yeah, He's got some good points, right? Yeah, it's good to be honest. Even more honest than usual. Yeah, I could see that'd be really good. Oh yeah, I could see why, cheating on your spouse would really mess things up. I'm down with that. Got some good stuff, man. That sounds like God right there. That's God's stuff. Yeah, I could believe that. But he says believe in. And that's a little different. It's got some tentacles, as Pastor Mike would say. Something in there. Because believing is about listening to words and watching someone and taking what you know about them and just deciding, do I buy it or do I not, right? Do I want this car or do I not want this car? Are they telling the truth or not telling the truth? Should we put them on the stand or not, right? But when you believe in someone, there is a trust that has to take place. And it's not just any kind of trust. You're trusting them to carry something very important for you. and you're trusting that they are the one that God has picked to do that thing. That's different. And Jesus isn't just saying, believe in me that I'm a decent teacher. Believe in me that God told me to tell you some things. He did. But he's saying, will you trust me with your eternal soul? Oh. Do you trust that I am the one to carry and preserve and take care of your eternal soul in a place that you cannot go and manage and plan for and set up and make it all the way that you want to make it before you get there? Do you trust me to carry your eternity for you? Do you believe I'm that guy? Oh. Yeah. See, if that's me, I'm thinking, I was just coming to see if you had any more of that magic bread left over, right? I didn't mean to get into all this. Like, whoa, right? Whoa, I'm supposed to trust you with my forever soul? Like, what? What are you talking? What? That's a pretty bold claim. Is there a claim bigger than that? Is there a bigger ask? Yeah. You trust me with that? Good. So what's it going to be? Of course, it's very human, right? Very natural. This is one of the most believable things out of all the things that are written in the New Testament, especially in John. What they say next, they say, "What miraculous sign then will you give that we may see it and believe you?" Right? This is a pretty big ask. What are you going to do? Could you just do something extra cool right now that we've never seen before we take that kind of a step? Prove it. And what they do next is they bring up this remembrance of their history. In the past, there was a time when their ancestors, led by Moses, I don't know if you've heard of him, but Moses led them in the desert when they were sort of ejected from Egypt as a slave nation. They're wandering around, and they're in this holding pattern until God loosens them up to go and have their own land. And so at one point, of course, they're pretty grumbly, and they're in the desert, and they're kind of like, hey, what are we going to eat around here? We were probably better off back in Egypt. At least we had food. And so Moses and God have a little conversation, and so God, get this, airdrops food, and every day airdrops bread down to the ground called manna. I'm not jealous. I don't know that it tasted very good, but they had it, and they went on with their existence, and they were able to do what they're supposed to do. And they say, well, Moses did this thing back then. We followed him because he was able to just, call it down from the sky, airdrop. So, what are you going to do? Now, this is sort of moronic because he just did did you catch the story earlier? He just did the bread thing. Boom! Thousands of loaves of bread from one loaf. You'd think, but they're saying in front of me, what could you do? That was cool and all, but could you do maybe like a bigger thing, right? Could you maybe make some lightning and mix it in with it, so we know God has put his stamp of approval on you. I didn't say that, but if it was me, I might add that in there. Throw in a little fireworks or something, right? Because you want to get this right. And this is what he says. Amongst many other things, he starts talking about bread. Since they brought up the subject, he says this, John 6:32, "The bread of God is he who comes down from heaven and gives life to the world. See, you want to get something to come down. You want God to shoot down something so you'll believe, see some sustenance come out, and it's proof, he cares about you, knows what you need, loves you. Boom, here's your bread. And he says, yeah, you're going to get something, and it's going to be life-giving. And it's not going to be a thing, it's going to be a he. And they say this, well, sir, from now on, give us this bread. Yeah. I mean, I don't exactly know what you're talking about, but yeah, give us that then. This is what he says. He says, I am the bread of life. I'm the bread. I'm the proof that you want. It's me. I'm going to be the proof. He who comes to me will never go hungry, and he who believes in me will never be thirsty. So yeah, I could shoot down some more bread. Maybe do another miracle with baskets and fish again, right? But is that really the proof that you need, or the proof that God has chosen? Actually, it's going to be a little bit more than that. It's going to be a little bit different than you imagine. It says, I am the bread. I am the life-giving thing that you need to see and to know. And get this, the kind of peace that you get with me is different from the way that you perceive how happiness works, right? You and I, we look at happiness and we say, well, here's the thing. I have a thing, it bothers me, therefore I can't be happy. Now, if God will please fix the thing, then I will move on and I will be happy. Except it only lasts until you can think of another thing that is wrong or not right or not as good as it could be, and then all of a sudden, what? You're unhappy again. And so the process goes on and on and on. Jesus says, that's not the process with me. It's different. When I give you that sustenance that you're looking for as proof, I'm going to give you something that doesn't just expire in an hour and a half. You ate some bread at a cool camp-style meeting in the middle of nowhere. You ate the bread, you're thinking, man, this is a real high. I had bread from nowhere. Problem is, it's gone in an hour and a half. I'm going to give you something better. Something maybe you didn't know you needed. I'm the bread of life. And this bread is my flesh. What? This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. See, I'm going to come down from a place of actual peace, no strife, call it heaven. I'm going to choose to come down here. And I'm going to sacrifice my very body. This thing's going to get destroyed so that you have the opportunity to live. And not just live good, live high on the hog, live for a while, to actually just live. That's the proof. See, it's not just proof. You can believe my words. It's proof that you can trust me. You can trust me. That's your greatest need. That's what Jesus says, your greatest need. Trust me. Do you trust me to hold the most valuable thing that you have, your soul, your eternal soul? Do you trust me with that? That is the thing I am here to be entrusted with. Do you trust me with that? And yeah, somebody may say, well, just shoot some more bread from the sky, give me some lightning bolts, give me some fireworks, give me some something, then, that's not enough to trust in someone, that's enough to trust someone. This is more. more than you thought that you required. And He's supplying it before you even know to ask. This is the thing. I am the bread, and I am giving myself in sacrifice for your lives. You should trust me. That's why you should trust me. That's the sign. This is the sign. I love you. I know you. And I want you. And there's no more proof than giving up one's life, is there? That's Jesus. And them was real people. And them's us. Them's us, man. Woman. I mean, that's our nature. Go to God. Can you do something about this? Can you do something about this? Can you do something? Yeah, I can do something about that. But while we're on the subject, how's that eternity thing coming along? Let's talk about eternity for a little bit. I mean, have you trusted me in that way? Do you trust me in that way? Maybe you've gotten a little, eroded. That happens in life. People get spiritually eroded. You lose your connections with people that are encouraging. You kind of get away from doing things that actually bring the most health to your life. And slowly you kind of erode, right? You just kind of wear a little thin, a little thin, a little thin. And it doesn't just, jump into your mind. Yeah, this is the problem. I'm not happy. I'm unhappy because I'm not spiritually healthy. No, I mean, we're so human. We look to the things and we say, well, here's the thing, and there's the thing, and that's why. If that was different, then I would go and I would work on this eternity thing. I would work on my relationship with God then, if I could just get those things covered first. I totally identify with that. If I could just tell you a little of my story to pull this thing together for you, I am totally a first things guy. I've always got a thing I'm going to do first, right? I mean, I have things I know I need to do, should do, but then there's always a thing. I got to do this one thing first. I mean, I'm really on this thing. When I was younger, before I ever heard of any of you guys, okay, I was all about starting my own business. That's what I was. I was going to be a young agricultural businessman. Don't laugh. It was a thing. People do it. I had generations of history in that area. I'd worked on a farm my whole life. I had land available to me. Just land everywhere. I mean, that's how it is. You got a farm, 3, 4, 5, 6 generations of farming. You got land. I didn't have anything else, but you got land. I had land. I had enough cash to get the thing started. I barely knew what I was doing, as it turns out. But I got into it, And I had gotten into a relationship with somebody, and that was looking like, oh, this is going to be, the thing. And so at the same time as all of that, I had become convinced, even before the business thing, that I had a call of some kind from God on my life. I'm supposed to get into just understanding the Word. Maybe I could be helpful to somebody somewhere, someday. And off and on, I would accept a little opportunity. Just take a little nibble on that carrot, just enough to convict me that, oh yeah, this is good, this is going somewhere. But I had all these things I had to do first. First, I need to get this business completely successful. I need to be in my, 7th or 8th year of operation, and I need to be totally, set, and I was going to build my house for cash and do it myself, and I was going to be squared away, right? Not owe anybody any money in any direction. That was me. And I had, kind of a relationship thing going, and that was progressing, and then, turns out, none of that stuff's easy. I mean, You play with dirt for a living for a while, you figure some things out. And I did. And I knew what that was about, and I worked. I worked. I worked. I could teach you some things about work, okay? And I didn't stop. My wife said it yesterday. She said, this is all or nothing with you, right? It's always all or nothing. And that was me, all or nothing. I was going to finish this all, and then I was going to take care of that all, and I had my priorities lined right up. And so, I'm just waiting for the ball and taking hits, right? Of course, it just takes forever to be successful at some things. And so, the stress and the strain of that going on all the day, that upward battle, that upward fight took its toll on me after a while. And I ditched most of the things that actually made me a healthy human being in order to be successful. And I was becoming successful, I'll give you that. I was seeing growth, I was seeing learning, I was making better decisions, I was making more money. Actually, having money come in for the first time. Very exciting, right? Put your first 5 on the wall. But wasn't happy. No matter what I did, something was really off. And God had this way of sort of letting me wear myself out to get to the place where He could say, okay, you ready? You ready? I could not find anybody to work. That's kind of rough. I was paying some good money. Nobody wanted to do that kind of work. Not reliably. And this relationship thing was just kind of, because I'm insane. I'm out all hours of the day. When am I going to see you? I don't know. When we're done. When's that going to be? End of the summer, maybe? I don't know, Yeah, it's going to go real well. So one day, I found myself in a place. I was willing to start coming to this church because some people around me had the gall to say, you really need a little spiritual centering, don't you think? Okay, whatever. I ain't got time for this. And so this dude at the front of the room starts talking about, hey, if you've ever felt called, this is something we take seriously here. We'll help you map out where you should be. Oh, that's interesting. All right, I'll go talk to the guy. End up in the guy's office, and long story short, he says, well, I think I'd like to train you. Would you be willing to accept training from me in this church? I said, yeah, I would. Because I've done all my own thing, and I'm still a mess. There just isn't any peace like the peace that you get when you have the gall to say, what is the work that you require, God? And you say yes. And you say yes. And here's the thing. You can listen to that story, and maybe you can't relate to that at all. Maybe why would anybody ever do anything like that? That's crazy. Well, so be it. But we all at some point struggle with the idea that if you go to God and you have some stuff and you need something done about your stuff, that maybe, just maybe, He's like that proverbial dad that you don't want to go to, because He's going to give you, Dad, could you help me with this thing in my car? I don't know, when's the last time you changed the oil? We don't want that. Dad, my plumbing's all goofed up. Well, when was the last time you cleaned out the trap? Nobody wants to get humbled that way. And so we're kind of like tense inside. You're like, listen, I don't want a whole big lecture. I don't want a whole big, string of commands. Just, are you going to do something or not? You go fix it, or, maybe I'll just go on my way and find some other solution. Because we're not sure if we can trust him or not. See, we're in a hurry. We just want to know, can I just get happy again? Could you just fix the thing? And of course, Jesus is Jesus. So sometimes he does. Sometimes he zaps a thing. Really gets your attention when he does. Wow, zapped the thing. Okay, I can pay attention now a little better. But honestly, sometimes he doesn't. And sometimes he's just saying, child, yeah, you got a thing. You're not happy. But, how much do you really want to know about that? Do you really want to fix that? Because I can. And there's this little war going on. Do I trust him to... yeah, eternity is cool, but what about the thing right now? It's like we might be willing to trust him with eternity if we didn't have a problem right now. And all I'm going to ask you, I'm asking myself, too. I'm not being arrogant about this, at least I don't want to be. If you could trust him with eternity, don't you think you could trust him with the next 6 months? Don't you think he knows his stuff well enough to walk through the next year with you or the next 2 years? It's not that he doesn't care about your stuff. It's just that he cares about eternity more than any other thing in your life. And if we're going to settle something, let's start with that. And if you could trust me with that, rest is pretty doable. Marriage is pretty doable. Whatever's going to happen with that mess you created, yeah, we'll get to that. Don't you think I can handle it? We'll handle that. Your identity issues that you've been suffering with ever since you were a kid, the abuse that you went through when you were younger, the trauma that you experienced, combat or on the job someplace, the hateful situation that you endured with a badly behaved family member or whatever it was, He cares. But he cares about you forever first. That's all I'm trying to say. So this morning, the call of Jesus is clear. You believe me, but do you believe in me? Do you believe in me? Do you trust me with eternity? Do you trust if you put your life in my hands and I walk to the other side, that I'll be there to meet you when you get there? That I have the end, that I am the end. I am, he says. I am that I am. Do you believe that? If you do, that's peace, buddy. That's peace, child. That's real. That's something you could take home to the bank. It's not going away. It doesn't spoil. It doesn't run out in an hour and a half. You go through some stuff, you still got it. Go through some stuff, you still got it. That's the kind of peace that Jesus calls you to when he says, believe in the one he has sent. I'm going to pray for you this morning, especially if you have been worrying, wondering, should I go to God or not with whatever I've got? I'm telling you, I believe, that's my testimony, that you should. That you should. If you could trust him with eternity, you can trust him with your stuff. So I'm calling you out in faith this morning, and if that's not where you are at, of course, don't fake anything. There's no hoax here. We're not pretending anything. Just silently sit and soak this in and take in for what it's worth. But for those of us who are decided, I want to trust the Lord with my eternity, I pray, Lord, God, gather us in. Gather us in. Focus our hearts on the one thing above all other things, that will we be with you forever? Can we trust you? We want that decision to be yes. We don't want doubt. We want to get rid of it. We want to exterminate doubt. But we are real. We have our honest doubts, God. God, do whatever we need to extinguish those doubts. We would actually firmly place our life in your hands and not be tempted to take it back out. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And as I step down from the steps today, our prayer team is going to be up. You can, of course, head out today and do whatever it is that you're on your way to do. But there will be some people up here to offer prayer for those of you who are warring with something you wish God would remove, move, change. On and on it goes. Will you trust Him? There you go. I'll see you soon.